Our next guest is Todd Bender, and we caught up to him in Dubai, of all locations, and there he is right there. Todd, how are you?
Good. How are you doing? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you. It is a little early over there, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What's the weather like in Dubai?
It's perfect. That's why I'm here. It's about 85 and sunny every day, so it's been a nice trip, a nice place to unwind a little bit.
Okay. You know, you may be the most well-traveled of all the people that we speak to. Now, I think in an earlier conversation you were telling me that you travel some 300 days a year?
That's pretty much right, yes.
And where is your real home?
My real home's Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, all right, good.
But normally I tell people it's Delta Crown Rooms because I actually spend more time there than I do at home.
Okay, now everybody knows who you are, Todd. I mean, you're well known probably around the world. We certainly know you here in this country. And we know that you are doing instruction in trap, skeet, as well as sporting clays, correct?
That's correct.
And on your 300-day schedule, I assume then you're traveling around the world giving instructions.
Yeah, I used to hit England a lot, Scotland. About every year I hit Australia. Most of my travels are limited to the United States, but Canada also. So I get around a little bit.
Okay, well, the first question, and I'm looking over here on the computer now, I know that I'm going to start getting emails and people are going to say, well, I didn't know that they were shooting in Dubai.
Actually, there's a gun club here. I've avoided it a little bit because this is my days that aren't the 300 where I'm shooting or coaching. So there is some shooting, mostly international, skeet and trap. But I have yet to go to the gun club here.
Okay, well, to some of us, we didn't even know there was a gun club. So we hope that you'll drop by there and have a look at it before you leave anyway, so you can tell us.
Yeah, and I hear it's a really nice one, too, as you can imagine.
Everything in Dubai is nice, so I'm told. I haven't had the opportunity of going, so we're relying upon
Yes, it is. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, I hear that it is, and certainly if they have a gun club, it has to be one of the most beautiful in the world. So we're very anxious to see any photographs that you may take. But let me ask you a couple of questions. What's your favorite gun? What do you train with, and what do you shoot with? Well,
I shoot Krieghoff. I've shot Krieghoff for probably over 20 years now. As far as American skeet goes, the amount of shooting that I shoot, this gun was built kind of for that sport, and it's never failed. It's a tremendous piece of equipment, and I'm in love with my Krieghoff, I can tell you that.
Well, I totally agree with you. I have a K80 myself, and I'm very happy with it. I can't imagine having any other gun. But that brings up a good point. And many of the people who we speak to say that instructors like yourself, people with the experience that you have, does it really make any difference? I mean, you could probably pick up any brand gun, correct me if I'm wrong, and do well with it. Is that true or false?
No, I agree with that. I think probably the most important thing is gun fit, or more importantly, stock fit. Of course, there's other things to be considered as far as weight and balance, but that's pretty much strictly, individual. The Krieghoff that I shoot's a 32-inch gun. I'm kind of a big guy. I'm 6'2", 250 pounds. So my 10.5-pound 32-inch Krieghoff, I'm kind of built for that gun. Another shooter might not be able to handle that. But as far as, makes, on the higher end that would take the amount of shooting that I do, the Protsies, the Kohlers, they're all tremendous guns, but they all have, they each have individual aspects. Protsy is a little bit different than a Krieghoff, so it's pretty much what the shooter wants. But I think stock fit is probably the biggest key to any gun purchase or equipment that you'd want to use.
Right, exactly. And as a matter of fact, I've had many people say to me that let them, whatever they shoot well with is what they should shoot with.
Absolutely. In American skeet, there's a big well, not a controversy, but a question about should you shoot the 12 gauge or the 20 gauge. A lot of people shoot the smaller gauge in the 12 gauge event, mainly for recoil reduction. And some people shoot autoloader, some people shoot the 20 gauge. I shoot the 12 gauge. But I think the bottom line to that question is you shoot whatever you have the most confidence in. If you think you're going to shoot your 20 gauge better, then you probably will.
Okay, so when you go, let me go in this angle then. Most of your instruction, Todd, do you, for instance, as some instructors do, they say, I really like to work with professional people. I really like to work with experienced shooters. rather than someone who's new into the sport. What's your feeling on that?
I don't agree with that, personally from my coaching. Of course, if you look at who I teach, I kind of cover the whole range. I get people who've never even seen a skeet field before or even shot a shotgun to people who are actually competing with me at the World Championships. And I actually like the diversity. On one end, it's nice for me to be able to work with, we don't get a lot of professionals, but a AAA or a high-end shooter, because I can talk a certain way to them, say things to them that I wouldn't tell a new beginner. However, working with a new guy, I enjoy that too, because there you have a clean slate and you can actually start someone off correctly instead of trying to break bad habits. You can get them doing it right. So I actually enjoy working both ends and everything in between, because it's challenging and exciting that way for me.
Okay. Well, just on a comedic moment, let me ask you this question. Now, they say that there are different attitudes in each clay sport, and they say that trap people, skeet people, and sporting clay people have different personalities. Now, we won't label the personality, but you will agree with me that maybe they have different personalities?
No, I won't. A couple of years ago, for about 2 or 3 years, I went and shot the Grand, which is the ATA's Nationals, the Grand American in Vandalia, Ohio. And I went with that attitude that, I was almost afraid, like I'd get beat up or something. And that wasn't the case. They're shotgun enthusiasts. And I've always been, I really don't like that segmenting of the clay target disciplines, because we're small enough, and what we need to be doing is banding together. So I have a lot of good friends who are top sporting clay shooters. Most of the top trap shooters are good friends of mine, and most of the top skeet shooters are good friends of mine. And we just like to shoot shotguns and kill clay targets. So I really haven't seen it, and I try not to propagate that notion either.
Well, I like that. I think you're absolutely right on that, and I think you put your finger on it when you said that we are a small organization of shotgun people, and to divide us up is only going to make it weaker, that we're all in this together, we're all having fun with shotguns, and we're all shooting at clay targets as well as hunting or whatever you may do with them. But hey, when we go to a competition, that's probably the most fun I have, is in meeting other people with shotgun. You have to feel the same way.
Absolutely. I think that's what keeps us coming back. I've been involved in skeet shooting for 35 years, and I think the main reason, not that I make my living at it, but it's the friendships that I've developed, and the great fun that I have, but also the people that I know, and maintain those friendships, and the competition too.
Okay, well, it surprised me that you're not making your living at this. So you have another business as well, Todd?
No, I do make a living at it. Not shooting. There's not enough money in competition, skeet, probably maybe in trap, but even in sporting clays. I really don't think so. The big money's in coaching. Right. That's how I make my living, and that kind of supports my habit of shooting competitive skeet.
Right. Well, that brings up another area which we've discussed in the past many, many times. I've always thought there should be more prize money involved. I think this is one of those sports. I mean, and you've seen this as well. I was on ESPN. I was looking at another network, and they were showing a bowling championship. Now listen. If anybody out there bowls, I don't mean to say anything negative about bowling, but if you're if you're showing bowling on a network, my God, you need to be showing one of the clay sports on a network. I mean, it's got to be a whole lot more fun. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. Unfortunately, I think in today's social climate, it may not be as politically correct. But there are a lot of shooters out there, and I thank God for programs like yours, and I hope you're reaching a lot of people. I'm kind of surprised by that. But it's one thing, especially with our sport in skeet shooting, at our World Championships, the target total is 550 targets, or any of our other tournaments is 400 targets. And commonly, it takes perfect scores to win that event. That's not something that's easy to televise, because guys in my sport never miss. So a layman just watching a guy never miss probably doesn't get that much excitement out of it. Now, if a guy like yourself or me watched it and understood what was happening, I think it'd be a little bit more interesting. But there's not a lot of us out there. So I'm afraid that our television revenues may be very, very much hampered. And that's probably what's causing the problem.